Do you ever wonder if conflict is inevitable? Is conflict always going to be part of the story? Is conflict always going to be part of the relationship? Is conflict always going to exist at work? Well, the answer is yes. Conflict actually moves connection forward. It's how we engage in conflict that we really have to dig in and question and say, what is the best way to deal with conflict? And the people around me, how are they engaging with conflict? Is this wise? Am I getting the best out of my relationship? And am I doing it in a healthy way? Okay, conflict is something that we need. We need conflict. We need healthy conflict to bring about resolution so that change can happen. What we are unwilling to acknowledge will never change. Okay, so we want to use our voices, we want to speak up, and we want to move forward in a healthy way with resolving conflict. And so one of the ways that we talk about conflict and kind of begin to understand conflict is in the Enneagram system is when we talk about stances. And stances really help us understand how we take in information, how we process information, and how we show up in the world with the information. And so when we do this work, we look at the different numbers in the stances that they're in. So ones, twos, and sixes are in the compliance stance. And the compliance stance goes into the world, and they go towards people. They are compliant. They're looking at what are norms, what are social norms, what should I do? How is this going to affect my relationship? How are people going to see me? Is this safe? Is this right? So they move towards people, trying to make sense of things. And it doesn't mean, though, if you're in a relationship with a 1, 2, or 6, that they're coming towards the conflict. It means that they're watching how everybody's relating in the conflict, trying to figure out how they want to show up and what their best stance, what their best position within the conflict should be. Okay? Now you've got the 4s, 5s, and 9s, and they are in the withdrawn stance. And so 4s, 5s, and 9s, they go into themselves. They go away from people in conflict, and they process information in their own heads. They want to figure it out. They want to make sense of things. They want to kind of deal with their emotions before they actually put them out there for everybody else to deal with their emotions. And now with the withdrawn stance, it doesn't mean that they're not going to show up to the conflict. It doesn't mean that they're not going to eventually get there. It just means that they need time to get there. Okay? The compliance stance also needs time to get there. Okay? So withdrawn, they move inward, away from people, process information. How do they feel about it? How do they want to show up? So 4s, 5s, and 9s. Now you have an assertive stance. The 3s, 7s, 8s are in the assertive stance. They move towards conflict. Okay, they move towards situations. They move towards big ideas and vision that they want to do in the world. And so they typically will go towards the conflict as a way to resolve and get what they want done. They're big picture thinkers, visionaries. They have lots of ideas, and they want to move their agenda forward in the world, and they do this by going towards it, okay? And so if you have a leader that's a 3, 7, or an 8, and you are in one of the other stances, they might want you to they might want you to be on the spot, give the information right then, and that's just not how you process information. And so having some understanding around that, or if you're a leader and you're leading somebody in the withdrawn or compliance stance, they're not going to be able to show up the way that you want them to in the moment. So give some time, give some space. Sometimes we might want to send an email out. If it's a work environment, you might want to send an email out ahead of time and saying, hey, these are the points that I want to touch on in the meeting that we have, so that it's caught off guard and they have a little bit of time to process information and show up with their best. If it's a relationship that you're in and you're noticing this dynamic where one of you is like, in the moment, I want to deal with it. The other person's like, I need time, I need space. There's a happy medium that you come to, so nobody really wins. You guys just learn how to communicate and function within that relationship so that both people are respected. So what I really want you to take away from this is conflict is healthy. Like, healthy conflict is necessary for growth. And we do not want to shy away from healthy conflict, but we do want to give everybody space to process conflict in the way that they process it, so they have time to show up the way that they need to show up. Okay, so understanding that 3s, 7s, 8s are assertive, 1s, 2s, 6s are compliant, and 4s, 5s, 9s are withdrawn. So just process that, see the people around you and how they fit. If you're a parent and you are in one of the stances and your child is in a different stance, that could be some of the tension that lives within the relationship there. I love to bring awareness to stuff and allow people to just kind of sit in it and become awakened and aware of what's happening around you and how do you engage in healthy conflict in relationship, because what I really care about is emotional connection and growth, because doing life alone is not fun. So what we really, really want is healthy connection and growth. So I'd love for you guys to check the Instagram that I have out. It's Enneagram with JB. I have a website. You can go and see all the things that I offer coming into teams, teaching teams. I do one-on-one sessions with people over Zoom or in person. I would love to be a part of that with you and your team or your family and help you guys grow in awareness and understanding, because there's nothing better than uncovering and discovering the different parts of ourselves.